Nobody in American soccer boos Lionel Messi for being Lionel Messi. They boo the people who suddenly appear wherever he does. A local supporter renews the same seat every winter, then arrives on Messi night and barely recognizes the people in that section. That is the first reveal. This fight is not really about Messi. It is about who decides when somebody has earned the right to belong. Pink jerseys are everywhere. Resale prices have exploded. And someone who discovered the matchup yesterday is filming the warm-up from 3 rows away. Then a giant Barbie-style tifo drops over Yankee Stadium with one message for the newcomers: don't be plastic. The easiest label is glory hunter, meaning a supporter who attaches to success instead of committing to one club through everything. The second label sounds slightly more polite: tourist fan, someone who arrives for the attraction rather than the weekly relationship. Both labels sound reasonable until the attraction is the greatest player of his generation appearing 30 minutes from your house, possibly once. At that point, buying one expensive ticket is not necessarily fake loyalty. It may simply be rational behavior under ridiculous circumstances. The local supporter hears that and remains unmoved, because rational behavior is exactly what transformed a home match into somebody else's pilgrimage. That tension has followed Inter Miami across North America, and it keeps producing the same strange scene in different colors. New York City supporters greeted the Inter Miami bus with boos, chants, and enough raised middle fingers to remove any confusion. At the same stadium, their "Don't Be Plastic" tifo targeted locals who ignored NYCFC until Messi arrived wearing pink. In Los Angeles, LAFC supporters skipped the lecture and displayed the grotesque, toothless Pessi meme behind the goal. Club America supporters booed Messi in Las Vegas, and after scoring, he appeared to answer with Argentina's 3 World Cups against Mexico's 0. These moments look like separate pieces of fan theater, but they all reveal the same anxiety hiding underneath the performance. The newcomers are not merely buying tickets. They are changing who the stadium appears to belong to. That is why Messi's version of the old plastic fan argument feels sharper than the versions European clubs have fought over for decades. The resentment is not new. But now everybody carries evidence in a pocket: resale screenshots, packed upper decks, and unfamiliar jerseys. A supporter can show exactly what the ticket cost before Messi, exactly what it cost afterward, and exactly who filled the difference. The argument finally has receipts. But receipts do not tell you who is morally correct. They only prove that somebody discovered how much the moment was worth. Here is where the conflict becomes uncomfortable, because 2 completely reasonable people are standing inside the same stadium. The local supporter says, "I was here when this section was half empty. The team was bad, and nobody wanted these seats." The visitor says, "The greatest player I may ever see is here tonight, and I am not apologizing for showing up." The local supporter sees commitment being displaced by money. The visitor sees one irreplaceable experience being protected by people who already had access. Both arguments make sense. Neither person benefits from admitting that. So they argue about formations, shirt colors, loyalty, and how many matches someone must suffer before cheering becomes legitimate. The local says, "You do not even know our starting 11. The visitor says, "You have watched him 40 times more than I ever will." The local says, "This club existed before Messi." The visitor says, "Then why is this the first match everybody wanted?" Nobody wins. The stadium gets louder, and the actual business model keeps working perfectly while everyone argues over vocabulary. Because the club does not need to settle which fan is authentic. It can sell loyalty all season and monetize scarcity when Messi arrives. The league is not picking a side. The league is cashing both checks. The same person can therefore be celebrated as a new customer in a boardroom and dismissed as a plastic tourist in the stands. That is the hidden system beneath the insults. The public argument is about loyalty. The private incentive is to make the exceptional night as valuable as possible. This does not require a conspiracy, and it does not mean clubs deliberately hate the supporters who kept showing up before Messi. It means the business rewards maximum demand, while supporter culture rewards visible commitment, and those 2 systems measure value differently. One measures years, the other measures dollars. Messi did not create that contradiction. He simply made it impossible to hide. Before him, a half-empty section could pretend everybody agreed about what being a real supporter actually meant. After him, the same section contains lifelong locals, first-time families, celebrity watchers, Argentine fans, Barcelona fans, and people recording every touch. They are all watching the same player, but they are not attending the same event. For one person, it is another home match inside a relationship that may last decades. For another, it is a once-in-a-lifetime sighting that ends when Messi leaves the field. That difference explains why even harmless behavior becomes provocative. A pink shirt looks like admiration to the person wearing it, and evidence of cultural trespassing to the supporter standing beside it. Cheering a visiting goal feels natural to the tourist, and insulting to the supporter who believes home territory should still mean something. Then social media compresses the entire conflict into a viral clip titled something like, "MLS fans turn on Messi." The clip makes it appear that Messi is the target, because Messi is the only name large enough to carry the story. But nobody is seriously debating his first touch, his vision, or his 8 Ballons d'Or. They are debating whether you are allowed to love something you only discovered last Tuesday. That is not a tactical argument. Football is merely the courtroom. The same mechanism can turn identical behavior into opposite moral judgments, depending on who benefits and who feels displaced. Enthusiasm is called growth when it expands the audience, then becomes plastic when that audience occupies somebody else's section. The behavior did not necessarily change. The person judging it did. And that is why this argument will survive Messi's retirement. Another superstar will arrive, another local section will fill, and another supporter will complain that the newcomers skipped the difficult years. Maybe that supporter will be right. Maybe the newcomer will also be right. The buses eventually pull away from Yankee Stadium, but the giant plastic fan banner remains visible above the empty seats. The locals return next weekend. The tourists go home eventually. The receipts do not. Messi made the seat more valuable. The fight is over. Who made it matter?